Hi, I'm back. I'm Lisa, and I'm going to share a poem with you that I wrote towards the end of last year. It's called Voodoo Doll, and it's about chronic pain. And yes, it's written from experience. It's a short one, so I will read it, and for other people who want to know a bit more, you can listen onwards, and if you just want to hear the poem, then you can click off after that. Somewhere there's a voodoo doll, stuffed with my skin, stuffed with my bone. So many needles poke in every part, the pain, it never leaves me alone. I'm amazed each day that I live to see, for each night I couldn't care if the gods take me. As my body battles, my mind retreats, thankful for moments of drug-induced peace. Cowardice or bravery is just a muddled mess. I beg you, oh please, give my voodoo doll a rest. So that's the poem. Excuse me. There we go. So for those of you that has been on my channel or just want to know a bit more about my experience of chronic pain, I was suffering with a bad back for quite some time. And then a few years back, they said I had degenerative disc disease, a trapped nerve, excuse me, and then it progressively got worse, and eventually I got a diagnosis of spondylolisthesis, it's a mouthful, pars fracture, still have degenerative disc disease, a bulging disc, a trapped nerve, arthritis in the spine, some little cysts that are to do with arthritis. I have arthritis in my pelvis and my left hip. Talk of a hip replacement at some point in the future. I was born with dislocated hips and had to have surgeries, and was always told that I would develop arthritis sooner. So I had to work out, those who watched my channel before know I ended up having a hysterectomy, and it was after that that my back progressively got worse, and then it was after that that I got the diagnosis. It was affecting me massively. It altered my life. I was lucky enough to be able to still ride a bicycle, which was great because I called that my wheelchair because I started to only be able to walk on a stick or two sticks, and people would see me hobbling around on wooden sticks. And eventually I purchased some crutches, and I've been using them ever since. I learned that I couldn't walk far. I could ride reasonably well with stopping, and the consultant said that it's a good idea to ride because it's non-load bearing. But I haven't ridden now for a year as I've become more ill. Consultant wants to put in titanium cage through abdominal surgery, and they put a cage in where the disc is or something. He did explain some of it, and some of it's gone. And then 2 weeks later, rods and bolts to go in the back, both major surgery, and I asked him if they would be agony, which was what I heard, and he replied, yes, it would. Not really what I wanted, especially after my hysterectomy, because I swore I'd never have surgery again, and I was just thinking of hip replacement. Who knew that they didn't want to stick some metal in me? So there was all these things planned, like having allergy testing for titanium, because I do have some allergies. And they wanted to do more CT scans on my legs, because when I was a child I had one leg longer than the other. That was how they worked out my hips were displaced, and nobody had noticed as a baby. And some more x-rays, and they'd done a full MRI. They did an MRI of my shoulder as well, and I have rotator cuff tendonitis. Thankfully they're not suggesting surgery for that. Ooh, whoopee. They want to stick some steroids in, but no thanks. I'm a little bit anti-drugs if I can avoid them. One, I suffer immense side effects. Two, I prefer things that haven't been tested on animals where possible. And obviously all drugs, all medication that are given to you by doctors or that you buy over the counter have been. So I try to avoid that, and because I do react quite badly to a lot of things in the past. Excuse me. So I'm really sorry about wasting time here where I'm trying to think. This is one of the symptoms, the joyous symptoms. So I had the hysterectomy, still got my ovaries, so I'm obviously having perimenopausal symptoms, menopause, I'm 52 now, so bloods aren't showing anything, but it's clear I'm having them. So all the struggles with my back, but at least I was able occasionally to get out on my bike. Some days I wouldn't go out at all, and my son, my youngest son, love him, was helping me around the home and helping me manage. And then at the end of October, I developed temperature, although I was actually ill in March last year with a cough and was quite ill after that and had lots of extra body pains. I've been having body pains, but I put them down to the menopause. I put everything down to menopausal symptoms, even when a physiotherapist, he's a special physiotherapist, I forget the name, told me that he thinks I have fibromyalgia, and I was like, no, I don't have that, because I don't want it. Don't have it, don't want it, no thanks, it's menopause, it will eventually go away. Didn't know if I had COVID back in March, had some symptoms, but anyway, just progressively got worse. Then come the end of October, I got a temperature. Okay, COVID, is it? 2 days later, pain. The temperature lasts for 2 days, and then came pain, and I mean pain, and pain, and pain. I have my own blood pressure thing here because my sister had bought it for me when I was ill after my surgery, or she bought it for me then, whatever. Anyway, my blood pressure was going up, heart rate was going high, I felt sick, I had all the symptoms of COVID except the upper respiratory, apart from the cough that had lingered with me from March, but it hadn't got worse. So then I had a test and I was negative for COVID, but I do understand that these tests can give false negatives. To me, I was convinced I had COVID. At one point, 111 sent an ambulance for me. They said it sounded like fibromyalgia. Oh, that word again. Didn't want fibromyalgia. Thanks. No, thank you. Thank you. Not that I want COVID, but hey ho. Anyway, so I continued in pain, and I could go into details, and this video would last for 2 days of the types of pains I had. But let's just say there isn't a part of my body that really didn't be affected. So come December, coughing more, my son's coughing, still in the same levels of pain. Do tests for myself and him, we were both positive for his 16th birthday, bless him. And oh, actually, we didn't get the positive till a couple of days after. I think we took the test then, doesn't matter. And all over pain, still there, got worse. Didn't think it could get worse. There were nights I wasn't praying to survive, I was praying to die, to take me away from it. Doctors were issuing me fibromyalgia tablets, which I haven't taken. I ended up in hospital on Christmas Day to get my heart checked out. Nausea, blood pressure, heart rate, again, all those things that were plaguing me at the beginning, at the end of October and November. So anyway, I was sent home from hospital that day. My son waited to open his presents. It's funny leaving your boy on the doorstep. That's your fear, that you're going to say goodbye to them and not come back. I didn't mind not living, but I did mind leaving him in amongst all of that. That is my biggest thing, is that as much as I'm happy with death, that I don't wish to leave him, not in such uncertain times. So that's my incentive to stay here. And some people will think, what are you talking about? You went into hospital with COVID, you come back out. I'm talking about living with constant pain and thinking that one day you might have to decide to go. I won't go any more to that. So just continue to deteriorate. I have muscle pain. Sorry, the light went out. I have muscle pain, I have skin pain, I have skin rashes, I have stingers, like stinging with bees all over my body, tendons. I have hypermobility, and so the backs of my knees, they bend backwards. I have bendy backwards knees, always had that. And I'd always been able to do weird things with my fingers and various things. And my knee would slip back and I'd nearly go down, and those tendons or muscles, whatever they are, would be excruciating. It affected my bladder. It caused pain everywhere, my heart, everything. So, okay. So where we are now is constant pain because of my spinal issues, my hip, my muscles, my skin, my joints. I now have, on top of my spinal conditions, been diagnosed with long COVID and fibromyalgia. And as much as I don't want to have that, it makes sense, not just on the symptoms now, but the symptoms that I've had for a very long time. There was even a time that I had gone to my doctors. It was before the hysterectomy, so back in 2017, I think, with a list. I actually wrote a list. You know, someone online said, write a list of your symptoms when you go to your doctors. She didn't like it. This particular doctor, she was really quite upset that I'd written a list, like I was some kind of nutcase hypochondriac. Not saying that if you're a hypochondriac you're a nutcase, it's just my terminology, please don't be offended, and if you are, there's nothing I can do about it. But on that list, I've still got that list, and if I look back at it, there are so many symptoms of fibromyalgia on there that were dismissed because she wanted to treat each symptom differently and give me a drug for it. I don't go to the doctors for drugs. I go to the doctors because I hurt, and when that hurt gets too much, if it doesn't go away, I've had many things that ease off. I had a rash all over my body for 3 weeks and I never went to the doctors. It went away on its own. I take vitamins and minerals, and sometimes I forget, so sometimes I go downhill a bit and I do them again and they perk me up. Bear with me. Okay, just getting comfortable. So it's about a diagnosis for me, and then for me to research what I can find that might help it naturally. But whenever you go to the doctors, they want to give you tablets, and I don't want them. And then they think I'm being awkward because I don't want them. So most of the time I don't go to the doctors. But anyway, so back then, really, I had fibromyalgia, but I was blaming it all on perimenopause. Perimenopause gives you brain fog. Long COVID gives you brain fog. Fibromyalgia gives you brain fog. I got a hat trick in brain fog. I think I'm doing quite well. I was. Maca powder is quite a good thing, I've found. I've got organic this, organic that jars on the side because I can't bend down into my cupboards. My son does that for me. So I've had to get a lot of things on the kitchen side now so that I can reach them easier. My hair's going grey because I'm letting it grow out. 2 reasons. One, I can't lean over the bath to dye it anymore at all. It's, even on a good day, that's not a thing that can be done. And 2, because I am now reactive to things more, so I don't want to put hair dye on me. I have no makeup on at the moment. It's unusual for me to come on here with no makeup. I'll wear it occasionally, but it irritates my skin and my eyes and makes me feel sore, whether that's long COVID, fibromyalgia, or menopause, or just bad luck. It really kicked in with the COVID, I'd say, but it could be part of the fibromyalgia. I don't know. I get rashes, things now with the COVID, and I can't really show you on here. This isn't a good camera. But going back to the hair, yeah, I'm going to go au naturel. And there's my phone. Doesn't that always happen? There. So, yeah, I now have a wheelchair as of 2 days ago, or 3 days. That was a bit of a shocker. I nearly went down in Asda the other week, and I'd already been looking at wheelchairs, but I didn't want to think that I might have to have a wheelchair. But my legs and my body is so debilitated, and the crutch I use it on my right side. That might be why I have the rotator cuff tendonitis, and it makes life quite difficult. But even on 2 crutches, I'm finding going distances on some occasions impossible. So I've been out in the wheelchair. I didn't know if I'd be a mess, because, you know, it was a big step to admit to yourself that you need this help, and that this help might not be just so you can get better, because, as the rheumatologist told me, fibromyalgia is incurable and it's for life. So and with my spine, now I know I have fibromyalgia. It explains why I was in so much pain after my hysterectomy, and tells me that the pain after 2 lots of spinal surgeries 2 weeks apart, I don't think I can take it, because there's not really many painkillers I can have. So because I'm allergic, or they make me ill. So that's really where I'm at with that. But my son took me out in the wheelchair, and I had to go to the bank and love him. Luckily, I was in a good day in terms of my mental ability to cope with that. And in true Lisa style, you know, there's still a little bit of me in here. There is still a bit, because as he nearly dropped me out of the wheelchair, getting up this tiny little lip on the bank, I laughed. I didn't cry, I laughed. I've had some tears here. I can tell you that there are days where, you know, it is just tears, because what can you do? But I like to try and get myself back in the game. Making this video, am I making it for people to watch, or am I just making it for me? I don't know. And if you're still here, you listen to me ramble, and I don't mind if you left. I haven't really got any structure to this. It's just, I suppose it is a ramble. And there we go. So if you see someone, this was something that occurred to me. I didn't know. Ambulatory, I may have said that wrong, wheelchair user is somebody who some days can walk and some days they can't. Or 1 hour they can walk and 1 hour they can't, and you get the gist. It's conditions, medical conditions that affect their energy levels, their physical capabilities. So they have to be in a wheelchair. I will say, when I walk on one stick or crutch, nobody pays any attention at all. In fact, people are just as likely to take you out with an elbow shove as they are anybody else. On 2 crutches, people are a little bit more noticing and a little bit kinder, a little bit move out of the way. Shop assistants are a bit nicer. In the wheelchair, that was a different experience altogether. People mostly did tend to move out of the way, and shop assistants were really, really helpful. So that's my take on what that is. You know, it's nicer to be treated nicely. It's not that I want sympathy, because I don't. This is my life. We're all in our own life, living our own dramas, and for some of us that is the hell. No amount of sympathy is going to change that. So I don't tout sympathy, so you don't need to give me any. It is what it is. See, then I forgot what I was going to say. That is the reality of brain fog. You think you're doing good, and then it's gone. I can see I'm getting redder in the face here. That's sometimes my face goes so red, not just a hot flush, but like really red. My hands go red, really red. screen went dark. So yeah, so I'm going to stop there because I've completely lost any train of thought. But I am still here. I may continue at some point down the line to make videos. I don't know. We'll just see. Maybe next time I'll have a whole head of grey hair. Look at this. So, nice to see you and goodbye.